Hello, this is Craig Mertens, Director of Product Education for Inktavo, the parent company of InkSoft Graphics Flow and Printavo. Welcome to InkSoft Academy. Joining me today is Joel Taylor from our customer service team, and he's going to be doing the presentation today. This isn't the most exciting topic, but it's a really important topic, and it's working with InkSoft orders, purchasing, and production. And there's a lot of power underneath the hood of InkSoft that you can plug into, but obviously you need to understand how all that works together. And so our goal today is to show you how orders, purchasing, production work together so you can streamline your order workflow and your order processing. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Joel.
So we'll start with InkSoft Core orders. This is just my account here. So just real quick, we'll give a little overview and then show you how it all breaks down and works together. So in your order manager, you've got some filters here. So in the top left, you can view open, completed, canceled, or all orders. And then top right, you've got another filter to see orders from specific stores if you need to, or you can filter through your proposals through your assignees. And we'll go ahead and open up an order here. So just a real quick overview of the controls. You can print your packing slips right here. You can print your work order. Actually, why don't I show what that looks like? That goes to production. So your work order is going to have any proposal notes, your internal notes, your product specific notes will be brought in, and it breaks it down based on the color. And breaks it down again on color and quantity of size. So it lets you know for these 40 shirts here, you're going to print this artwork. And here's some color information for you. Same thing here, and then same thing here. So just making sure you're printing the right artwork on the right shirts. Pretty good to know. Download your render package. This will just give you the art file all by itself so you can actually produce the items. So this just gives you the art file so you can, separate the colors, get started with screen printing, or load it into your DTF or DTG machine. So once an order is generated, all the products in this order are automatically set to purchasing and production. So if I go to purchasing, we'll start there. And I'm just going to copy this order number. Let's just search that order number. And there it is. We've got 40 of each size. So the point of purchasing is just to tell you which products you need to order. So it's not going to tell you, it's not going to track inventory for you, and it's not going to place an order with your supplier automatically. It's just saying, here's what you got to order. So with that in mind, we'll just open these up here. You can just click these cards and expand them and expand the sizes. So if you need to do a specific order, you can just order a couple of things you can. But for this example, we'll just select all and create a PO. Choose your supplier, which is nice. You're not forced to order from Sanmar. You can do it from SNS or Alpha Broder, but we'll go ahead and order from Sanmar here. And you can enter your order number here, your reference number, your tracking number for your PO, expected delivery date, any notes you might have, and then just create PO. And it's a left to right process through these tabs up here. So once we create our PO, we'll just go to the next tab, purchased. So InkSoft thinks you've made the purchase from your supplier at this point. So it's time to start receiving the items. At this point, let's say we got our whole shipment in one delivery, all 120 items. At this point, just select your PO and mark as received. Pretty easy. What you can also do from here is download a PDF. I'll go ahead and show you guys what this looks like. So just a nice breakdown of your entire PO. You got your SKU information, quantity, color, and size all the way down. So I would just print this out, use this as your receiving list just to make sure you got your entire order, basically. If you get a partial shipment though, which happens, you'd then open up your PO. So just click on the PO number there. And you can say, okay, we got all the red, we got all the green, but we're missing a small through large of the ash color. So let's go ahead and just receive all these other sizes here. And now we're partially received. So you'll be able to see this from the purchase tab as well. partially received. And now let's just go ahead and mark as received. Let's go ahead and do that. So we've received the PO. Now we'll go to the received tab, and now here's our PO. This is just kind of going to park here. It's going to sit here for a while until once you finish processing all the orders that this group of items is in, this PO is just going to disappear. So you don't really need it after that point. And then the in stock page is just here to tell you which items go to which order. This is pretty huge here in my account. I have thousands of products here, but this item goes to this order, this size, this color, etc.
So Joel, let's say I have a whole bunch of orders that all have Gildan 2000 t-shirts on it. How do I accommodate for that within purchase orders?
Sure. So from needs purchasing, you could just search 2000. I'm not sure if I have any 2000. Actually, I do right here. You can just search a SKU here. And okay, we've got 40 total to order. So it doesn't matter which order or how many orders have been placed. It's just looking at how many times this SKU has been ordered overall.
So in other words, you're combining multiple orders with the same product into a single PO.
Yep, that's right.
That's pretty handy. And I think another thing to point out is, once we collate orders, because a lot of times what will happen in a store, you might have, 5 or 6 products that, people are frequently ordering through various stores. Being able to combine those into single purchase orders so you only have to make one PO with SandMar is really handy. But also, a lot of times you have different products that you're going to order at the same time. So you might have the 2000 t-shirts, but you might have the 2000 long sleeve t-shirts as well. And you can combine both sets of products into a single PO as well. And bear in mind, you're going to be placing your purchase order with SandMar. The InkSoft system isn't going to connect to the SandMar ordering system to place the order. So you're going to have to probably, Joel, work off the work order or just work directly out of the software to place your PO with SandMar.
Yeah, you could just reference the PO once you reach the purchase tab. You can just open it up. You can view it from here or sorry, this one's now received. You can also download that PDF and reference that while you're placing your order. Or if you have a sales rep at, one of your suppliers, I'm sure if you emailed them that PDF, that would make sense to them. It's just got a quantity for each size and color. So pretty self-explanatory.
So in terms of where orders are coming from, they're really coming from 3 sources. They're going to come from orders generated through proposals. If you just did a manual ordering process and it becomes an order once the customer approves and pays, then it's automatically populated into orders. It will come through orders placed on the InkSoft stores as the customer pays. And then orders will also come from the InkSoft Designer. So if somebody's on the InkSoft Designer, they check out and pay, and that's also going to create orders. So orders are really coming from 3 sales channels. Can you get into reporting a little bit? If you want to drill down by store.
Yeah. InkSoft Core reports. So I've got a bunch of different reports here. The one we'll take a look at is the order detail report. This is a more itemized report, which I think this is probably the most popular one. Let's do a date range, last 90 days, and it's going to bring in all these products. So if you see multiple order IDs, that means that there's multiple items on this order. And what you can do from here is you've got a store filter. So let's open up our active stores and just say, we just want to see a couple different orders from different stores. We can do this, and then it's going to filter. So I don't have any orders from those stores, so let's just select all the active stores. Okay, but you can filter to see specific orders from specific stores. You've got another filter here on the right to get really into detail if you need to. There's a ton of stuff you can filter in and out here. And then by default, you'll start in the columns here, and this is where you select what information you want to see in your report. So if you want to, you can just start from scratch and say, okay, I just want to see the order ID, the date they ordered, the store they ordered it from, scroll down, and shipping info. Oh, it's not that. Let's do order total, product cost, and price. Just bringing a bunch of cost information to the report. So it's really, really flexible. You can grab pretty much whatever you want to from here and pull that into a report, including your store commission. So if you're doing any payouts with other companies, you could pull that info in here. It's really flexible. So just kind of tell it what you want, and then you'll export that CSV, and it's going to, generate that CSV or generate this report into a CSV so you can view it. So pretty handy.
Now, if I want to save the report, then I have a save as function that'll save the report so I can call that out. But let's say I have a certain report I want to run all the time. Can I bookmark the URL for that report and pull that report back up? Like can I go and bookmark this page and pull this report up?
I believe you can. Let's just try it out. We'll just copy this URL. Well, not the URL, but what you can do is save the report. Save it.
Pull it up, change it, and then resave it.
Yep. Now it's here. If I go to the reports dashboard, it's going to have Joel's report right here, my custom reports.
But the URL will go to that. If I do bookmark the URL, it'll go to that page. So it gives me a nice head start just to go right directly to that report.
Oh, you're right. So it has to be saved though first. So if you save the report, then you can go to that URL, no problem.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a nice little shortcut there. So what if I have like personalization fields? Let's say I set up a store and I'm collecting name and number. How am I going to collect all that data?
Let's see, you've got it's right here, personalization name and input one. So the name this would be, for example, enter player name or enter player number. And then the input would be the answer the customer entered, or, they typed in, or they chose from your multiple choice answers. And if you have multiple personalizations, you can bring it up to 5 to the report and just bring that in as well.
Yeah, one of the things that was a change when we did the updated on reporting, we used to have what was called a personalization report, but now you really don't need that because personalization can just be added really to any report. And so we've provided a lot more flexibility in terms of reporting because you don't have to be so reliant on stock reports. I think one of the questions that comes up frequently is that I get from customers is, why do I have to download a CSV? Why can't I just download the report? Well, the report, what format would we want to download the report in? Would we want to download it in a PDF file? How would we want to download the report? I think you have a lot more flexibility by exporting to a CSV file, because then you can just open that up in Google Docs or Microsoft Excel, and then you can reformat the report any way you want in terms of columns. But what if you wanted to print a report? Are we going to have to go through a CSV file first to get it over to Excel to print it?
I would think so. I wonder if you can print this page though. Let me see what happens. Probably don't want to do that. Yeah,
you're going to get a lot of formatting. The easiest thing, if you don't have Excel, the easiest thing to do is just open it up in Google Sheet. Yeah, that would be Google Sheets, which is their spreadsheet app. And then let's do that. Let's open one up. Let's export a CSV, and let's open it up in Google Sheets real quick, because then you can format it any way you want. You can change column widths. You can add headers. You could also just do it raw, and from there you could also create a PDF file. And we don't really use some Microsoft stuff too much in the office anymore, because we use pretty much Google Sheets for everything.
Let's see here, folder. Oh, it's not letting me bring it in. Wonder if I'm doing it wrong.
Do you have an open sheet there?
Let's see. I can open it right here as a CSV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean just copy and paste it in?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. There we go.
Yeah. So you also, what I kind of like about Google Sheets is then I can store it, and it's in the cloud, and I can access it, on my phone anywhere I want. It's also really easy to reformat this. And if you do, some people are kind of old school. They want to print off hard copy. You can go to file print, and you can create a PDF from this as well, or just print directly to your printer. But the intermediary phase is really going to be using the CSV file. Basically, with the CSV file, it's just the data format. So we're using an industry standard data format. If you don't know what CSV is comma separated. So it's a very common, I think it's probably the most common generic data format. And you can open up CSV files, and you got quite a bit of latitude in doing that. Any spreadsheet program, you can open them up in Google Sheets. You could open them up in Notepad if you wanted to. You can actually open them up in Word if you wanted to. And so the table is basically going to be saved in CSV format. So in terms of, an order comes in, we place the PO, we've received the units. How am I going to get it to my equipment, Joel? So that's where we're going to go into production. And so let's kind of go through the rest of the workflow and talk about how we get an order to, we've already gotten it to a purchasing phase, but how do we get it to the equipment?
Okay. So you can see here, we've received these items, which is nice. It'll update the status here in the order. And now that we have possession of the items, we can now get started on production. So same thing, I'm just going to copy this order number. And let's just start here, InkSoft Core production. Same thing, I'm just going to search that order number. And this is the only area of the system that will sort by design. So for any printing, really, that's very handy. Any artwork that's the same size will be grouped up like you see here. And what we could do now is just select these items. And if I wanted to, I could pull multiple orders into the same work job, basically what's called a job. So we'll go ahead and create our job here. Choose our workflows, say this is going to be a screen print job, give the job a name, schedule a date for production to start, say next week. And this is an old order, so you can kind of ignore this, but basically if the customer is going to come pick it up, it'll tell you when they're going to come get it. And if it's for shipping, it gives you an internal ship date, which is right here. So if you ship it out on this date, it'll get to the customer on time.
Yeah,
So
if it's in red, that's a bad sign. That means it's past due.
Yeah.
So that's easy to get some visibility on that. And not to we don't want to lose this point. Part of the group by design feature is a really important feature, because like Joel was saying, it can look at the art, because InkSoft is a graphics driven platform. It can look at the art. It knows the art's the same. It knows the art has the same colors, it's the same graphic, and it's the same physical size. And so that's allowing me to have instant visibility on, let's say, all of the orders. Let's say you came up with the world's greatest Halloween design. You come up with this amazing Halloween design. It goes viral on TikTok. People are hitting your stores, and you've got, I just saw this a real thing. A gal was talking about, it was pretty neat, because I follow her TikTok account, and she has a rock automatic press, and she was printing these shirts, and it had a ghost on it, and it said bougie, like bougie. And my customers, my kids would probably be more appreciative of that, but it was a cute little design. And she was kind of bragging that, hey, we just sold 400 of these in the last 3 days. And she was literally printing them right there on live on her rock automatic press. But she has to process all of those. And so she has to figure out, all of the blank products that she has to order, because she's going to probably bulk print them together. And she has to be able to, see what kind of production capacity she has on her machine. So because she can track, if she was an InkSoft user, because she could track all of her orders and artwork together and group them together into a single job, just makes it much, much easier. And so I always think of, as it was explained to me, and it makes sense, orders are tied to product quantities, colors. They're tied to the product, but jobs are really tied to two things. They're tied to the graphic, because you might be ordering transfers altogether, so you need to correlate how many transfers you need to order. And they're also tied to a production process. Obviously, that production process is going to be tied to a piece of equipment. So when you're trying to budget, time, and that, like I'm going to be heat pressing, how many shirts? 21 shirts tomorrow for our trade show shirts. And I'm going to be heat pressing 21 shirts. I know how long it takes to do those. I know I can do 21 shirts. I got to do front and back. So those 21 shirts, I can usually do, I figure about 2 to 3 minutes per shirt, front and back. So I'll just say 3 minutes. I know it's going to take me probably between an hour and a half and 2 hours to do that. So I can budget my time based on, the production process and the number of print locations and the quantities. And that's where the production functionality in InkSoft really comes in handy. And I also feel, Joel, I think I imagine you probably feel the same way, but dropped balls. And when we had our shop, we had a pretty good sized shop. We were doing about $15 million a year with Desert Sportswear. We were processing a very large volume of orders, of collegiate sportswear, and we had a large number of graphics, and those graphics all had to be customized for each university. And so we might have in a season 100 different designs, and we'd have to take those 100 designs and we'd have to localize them for the University of Texas or University of South Carolina, Susan. And we'd have to do that. It was just an absolute nightmare to keep track of that. And we used a system using job envelopes, where every job had an envelope that traveled with the task, including like the film to burn the film and all that. And balls would get dropped. And I remember, as working on both sides of the business, both in the production side when I was in high school and college, and then as in the sales side, it was a huge point of aggravation. And so I would say being able to discipline yourself to not just kind of old school it, print out an order and just old school it on a whiteboard, but to be able to discipline yourself to activate the purchasing functionality of InkSoft and activate the production features of InkSoft is going to be a huge hedge against dropped balls. And if you've been on the production side, you've been around the block for a while, one of the things that happens is rush orders, right? So now you got a rush order and you have to figure out how to fit that into your production schedule. Having visibility on your orders and seeing how squeezing this order in is going to impact everything else. To me, that's a pretty big deal. And so I think from my experience, a lot of InkSoft users will just kind of old school it and print out a work order and just whiteboard it. You have very, very powerful functionality within InkSoft for managing those orders, managing purchasing, and managing production. And I would challenge everybody to use it. Let's take a look at open jobs. I'll flip it back to Joel, and we can talk a little bit about job stages.
Cool. So here's our job here. It was just created today. Just click this job number, and we went to the jobs tab to see that. So now everything you need to produce this order is here. So, and like we were saying earlier, you can combine multiple orders into the same job. So if you have a giant, influx of orders, you can just pool all those together and say, okay, we need to get all these done, get started on all these. So everything you need to produce this order is here. You can print that work order. That's the same thing that's generated on the order that we showed you here. But the nice thing is it's going to pool all of that order information together and combine it into one big work order. Also get download the render package here to get all the artwork you need to print, and then just get to work. So you've got your stages right here in the top right. Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
No, go ahead. Perfect.
So the stages here allow you to, track where the job is at. So this is kind of a weird workflow. Usually it would say color separation, burn screens, screen print, etc. I think I did this for another customer. Anyways, walk it through the stages of your workflow here. And then when you view the orders, so if I go to this order here, at a glance, you can see what's going on. So, okay, we've received these items, and now we're at stage 2, screen print, which is very nice to know.
And all of that's customizable, the stages.
Yeah, if you go to your preferences here, you can open up any one of these, or you can also create as many as you want. So if I open this one here, edit it, I can see burn screens, print shirts, packaging, etc. And I can change all that information out.
Yeah, and so you're not having to conform to what we think is the best workflow. You're able to go in and set up your stages based on kind of how you do things. And one of the things that we did in a recent update that I think most people appreciate, we have clients that are processing a very large quantity of orders. So let's say, and sometimes those clients are working with contract decorators, right? So I had a client, and they have like 100 orders a day that have to go to a contract decorator. So they have to get the work orders. Typically, they're going to send the work orders over as in a PDF format to the contract decorator. So under the old way of doing things, when we would create those PDF files from the work orders, we're basically processing them in the cloud, and there could be a pretty significant production delay. So we're processing those in the cloud. We're kind of creating those PDFs. It can be pretty time consuming. So one of the things that we changed is we went to a system which is called Print Actions, where one of the unique things about Adobe Acrobat PDF files is we can use a print driver to create those PDF files. So if we actually print to a PDF file, it's a much, much faster way of creating those PDFs. and you can create one big old giant PDF that has all your work orders on it just by using the print function. Can we show the print functionality with like work orders?
Yeah. Print the work order. And this would be what prints out. So your job, it's got all the information that we would want, really. So any sort of like personalization stuff, like names and numbers, would be here in these notes. Breaks it down based on the color here, and kind of same thing we saw on the order. Just make sure you print the right artwork on the right shirts.
So what about printing multiple work orders at the same time?
Let's go ahead and do that. So real quick, let's just grab a bunch of different jobs. Create a job. Say this is going to be screen print. Schedule that. Create that job. Go to the jobs tab, and here it is right here. So we just pulled in a bunch of different orders. You can see different order numbers here in this job. And let's go ahead and print that work order. So you can see for this job, you know, using this logo, different logo here.
Yeah, and one of the things that you'll notice that recently with a recent update, we changed the physical appearance of the work orders and invoices and all that, and we did that to condense them so there's less white space, so it's more quote eco-friendly. As much as everyone wants to be electronic only, because you know if you had a tablet in your production area, you could just pull up this file and use that to as a reference point for processing your jobs. But we recognize a lot of people still print work off of printed paper. So we condensed all the formatting on, things like work orders. So there's less white space. So you can save on a little bit of paper. So can we talk a little bit about the difference between an order package and a render package?
Let's see, order package, you mean just like
when you're downloading the work order with the art versus just the art with the render package?
Oh, yeah. So the work order versus the render package is just going to have all the art files by themselves. It's not going to have any of the work order data, like which art goes where. This just has the art files, so you can actually download them to your computer and then load up your printer, or, get to work on separating the colors for screen print. So if I download this render package, let's go ahead and open it up. Can you guys see this, Craig?
Yeah, and I can blow that up when I do the editing too.
Oh, cool. So yeah, you've got your different art assets here. So here's the NASA stuff. Let's open up this one. Here's another one. So just a nice, way to download all the artwork that you would need to get started.
And the formats are going to be, for vector is going to be SVG, and then for bitmap will be a PNG file, which are both good choices. What I like about SVG files is it's like a very pure form of a vector format. So the files that, let's say the customer is creating a file let's say they created a file in the designer, and they uploaded a JPEG file. So when they upload the JPEG file in the designer, we have the latitude to go in and screen out the background colors and any like white in the graphic. So we can say, hey, take the white background out of the JPEG and maybe take the white out of the graphic. When they save that file, they're checking out and they save that file. We're going to download the file with those changes. So when the file gets downloaded, it's going to get downloaded as a PNG file with all that white's going to be gone. Now that's not going to ensure that that file is production ready, because they could have uploaded a 72 DPI, JPEG file, but we're gonna get the file that they were actually editing on. Now, in the case if they uploaded, say, a PDF file, or they uploaded an SVG file, when we download that art in the render package, we're gonna get an SVG file that has the original vector art. Color is gonna be the same. All the vectors are there. If you want to bring it into, say, Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW and convert it to spot colors and color sep it for printing, you can do that. And so the render package, like Joel was saying, is just going to be the artwork itself, but the order package is a little different because it's going to have the work order and the artwork. And can we download an order package real quick?
You mean the work order?
Yeah. From like if we go to an order,
Huh? So this is going to have a DST file. See,
so yeah,
download.
go over to the three dots. Yeah. The order package.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So this is what you're going to send over to your contract printer. And this is really handy. So we have a lot of clients that work with contract printers. And so what does the contract printer need? Well, they need the art, that's for sure. And they need all the descriptors on what's actually getting printed, print location, quantities, all that kind of stuff. So the order package is going to be more comprehensive. It's going to include the work order as well as the artwork. So one of the things that I always kind of recommend when you're kind of getting the hang, when you're first getting kind of the hang of InkSoft, and I had to do this too when I learned it, is pluck around, man. There, you go into the application, wait, what are these three dots over here? And you click on the three dots, and wow, I didn't realize all those neat things were there. I didn't realize that's where the packing slip lived. Because one of the things, there's a lot. I always describe it like this. If you're just learning the basics of InkSoft, what are the things you're going to learn at first? Well, the thing you're going to start with, everybody's going to start with is, you're going to get your payments set up. So you can do payment processing. You're going to add products to your product catalog. It's really important. You're going to get your pricing grid set up so that how you're going to construct pricing when you're building out, when people are building out products in your designer. You're going to do all that stuff. But that once that's done, that doesn't have to be really done again. The things that you really need to focus on learning are like creating stores, how to create a store, how to do a proposal. How does the InkSoft designer really work, and how are we going to use that within the context of our business? Where does it make sense to promote it? How does the InkSoft designer work? And one of the things you'll notice is, the way you create mock-ups in the designer is pretty darn close to the way you create mock-ups in proposals and in stores. So there's a lot of redundancy within those features. But once you get that figured out, once you're making stores and you're doing proposals, that's when you start to spend time, learning like orders and purchasing and production. Because once you start getting into the real, I guess for lack of a better word, guts of the program, there's some really powerful things going on down there. And if you leverage some of that power, you can really streamline a lot of your production and order processing workflow. Because I think a lot of times, I don't know if you agree with this, Joel, but people think of InkSoft as like a e-commerce platform. Is it an e-commerce platform? It seems like it's a lot more than e-commerce.
More than that. Definitely a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's order processing, purchasing, production, quotations, art approvals. All of those things are encompassed in the InkSoft. So I always recommend learn stores first, then learn proposals. Make sure you understand how the designer works, and then start working within context of orders, purchasing, and production. As far as what else do we want to talk about? And probably let's talk about shipping. Let's talk about how shipping works.
Okay. Let's see. So you've got your ready to ship tab here in your order manager. All you have to do is just select which orders you're ready to process, and you'll click this button, ready to ship / pickup. It'll send each order you have selected to the correct tab between these two. So ready to ship, probably a bad example because I actually don't have shipping integrated here, but we'll just go through it real quick. You'll enter the dimensions of the package. Say it's a bag. We'll put the height at 1, and it's a 7-ounce shipment. At this point, I would just click inside this rectangle, and then I could choose the actual shipping label I want to purchase. So UPS ground, USPS first class, whatever I want to do. I would click in here and select that shipping label. Once I select it, it displays the cost of the shipping label here in the summary, and you'll see a blue button that says purchase shipping labels. And you're not limited to just printing one. If I selected a label for this order here, and this order here, I can then purchase all 3 here in the summary.
Yeah, and that's being done through an organization called ShipStation. If you're not familiar with ShipStation is one of the biggest shipping integrators on the planet, and it's a very common technology and software that's utilized with many e-commerce platforms, not just InkSoft. but ShipStation's included with InkSoft. But what you have to have is your shipping account. So the reason that Joel can't really go through doing shipping is we don't have a UPS account, a U.S. Postal Service account. But we actually the ShipStation actually ties your accounts to the shipping functionality within InkSoft. So think of ShipStation as kind of the conduit. And as a result of that, there's some really positive things that happen. Number one, when you get shipping quotes, they're based on whatever pricing you have. So let's say you're a member of ASI, and ASI has a program with, I'm not sure if it's FedEx or UPS, but one of the two, and you get special rates. So this is going to be quoted using your rates because it's linked to your account. And the other thing that's really positive that's going to happen is we're going to handle the sending out of tracking information. And so these are some of the advantages of ShipStation because it's going to send out the tracking. So I don't have to manually send out tracking. As far as the tracking data that's going out, is that going out as a separate email, Joel, or is that going out? How is that going out?
Basically, when you purchase and print a shipping label here, it'll give you the option to either send an email with the tracking number or not. So it's pretty straightforward. And let's say, just real quick, let's say you took this order down to UPS in person and shipped it out that way. At that point, you would just select this order and then record a shipment. And this is kind of the option that you'll get after you purchase and print a shipping label. You can include the tracking number or not, it's optional, and also notify the customer with an email or not. So both of these are optional. You can just quietly complete the order if you want to.
So that's that client that waited to the very last minute to order and needed it overnighted. And in order to get it overnighted, you had to run down to FedEx.
Yeah, exactly.
The cutoff. Never had that happen before. So let's talk a little bit about pickup methods and how we're dealing with pickups. Because one of the things that, you would think that pickup, I always kind of associate with picking up products as being easier than shipping. I think it's just the opposite. I think pickups are actually oftentimes require more coordination, especially when you're dealing with school orders, because you have to be able to track, like, you need to be at this place at this time in order to pick it up. So in terms of setting up pickup methods and kind of attaching them to orders through the process, how would we go about doing that?
To set up a pickup method, you're going to do that on the store level. So let's go to this store here. It's in these stores, store admin, store settings, and then you've got your pickup methods right here. So this is the lake. You can add pickup methods. So let's go ahead and just create one. And let's say it's like you were saying for a set, time. So let's set a date range here, and it's going to be over the weekend. So the 7th and 8th of October, and then there's a specific time that people need to show up in order to pick it up. So let's say it's going to be from 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And we'll choose our time zone. Let's do MST. Oh no. Here we go, MST. So let's say pick up at school. Create. Oh, missed something. Oh yeah, we need the address. So let's just do that. Let's just pretend we put the address of a school there. Hit create. And now at checkout, this would then become an option for customers to choose. And it has all the pickup information here. And now let's say the 7th rolls around and it's almost 1 o'clock and you want to send out the pickup notifications to all the customers. So back to the order manager here, ready to pick up. Let's say, for these 5 orders, or, you select all your orders and then you'll send that pickup notification, just letting them know, hey, come get it. It's almost 1 o'clock. Let's start picking up the orders. And then say next day rolls around 1 o'clock, you can send them out again. You can send this as many times as you want, which is nice. And then once the order has been picked up, just mark as picked up right here.
Yeah, a customer asked me about that. How do I go in and designate? He had asked me, so I send these, I send the product out, and the product gets received by the customer. The customer confirms that they've received the product. How do I mark that as the customer received it. You can't really do that with shipping methods, but you can do that with pickups. So really on a shipping method, we're not going to be able to get feedback back from the customer saying, yeah, I'm confirming I received that. We don't have a way under shipping methods to go in and say, yep, I received that and mark that. But under pickup methods, we do. We can go in and say, hey, yep, they did pick this up. And I think one of the challenges, as a business owner, anytime you're dealing with pickups, I just think of my own experiences with all the groups and activities and organizations that I've worked with over the years. I hate doing it. Pickups. I absolutely hate them. I would rather go to the customer and say, hey, listen, spend the extra $10. You're going to show up, or the kid that doesn't show up. I remember last time I did an order for our soccer club, it took me close to a year to deliver every last product to every person in the club, because I didn't always show up at every event, and the people that bought didn't always show up at every event. So I think it's okay to kind of encourage shipping, or just to hand off to the customer to say, hey, listen, what we're going to do is we're just going to ship you guys the bulk order, and then it's kind of up to you to arrange that. But I think that's worked nicely within InkSoft is you're just kind of facilitating that communication for the customer. You're really working on the customer's behalf by doing that. But you're creating a lot of extra complexity. I think I would rather just pack the whole order up, go into ShipStation or go into my shipping functionality, weight dimensions, put a shipping label off, UPS person comes, take it, done. But we can handle some pretty complex things with pickups by being able to create pickup methods. So it is a pretty handy tool. But I think from a best practices point of view, I think everybody knows where I stand on pickups. Okay, so the other thing I want to kind of get into a little bit is in terms of configuring things. Like if we want to go in and really drill down our kind of the way that we work. And so, for instance, like those production stages, the production stages for jobs, that's going to be affiliated with the job itself, or are we going to do that globally and they'll all have the same production stages? So how do we get the production stages set up?
So go to InkSoft Core Production, go to your preferences, and you can create a new workflow right here. So let's go ahead and create one.
Let's create a direct to film transfer workflow. How's that sound?
Okay, pretty easy. DTF, and then we'll just choose a little printer logo. And from what I understand, it's not a whole lot of stages with DTF.
Okay, so let's say stage one is art review. Because when you're selling DTF transfers, there's going to be a mess. Stage two is art preparation. Then stage three, maybe stage three is schedule for production. Maybe we could put that in there.
Okay. Yeah, just to be thorough.
Yep. Stage four is in production. I guess that's 5, right?
4.
Okay. Next one would be production completed, QC. So we're QCing all the product. And then next stage might be packing.
There we go. And then complete. So I'll create that workflow. Got it right here. And now that this is here, it's totally reusable. You can send as many products through this workflow as you want. So just real quick, grab the products you want, create the job, and now here's our DTF workflow right here. So same thing. you can just schedule that job and get to work.
So thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Bye now.